Hello and welcome, Campbell here. And I just wanted to preface this video, and basically I'm not in this video. So this is a chat between Tara, who is the lady who has organized the Bosnian pyramid trip, where we're going to Tartaria. We're going to see star forts and old world cities and all that stuff. So if you're interested, the link is below. Click it and check out the deal, and come and join us. We would love to have you there, limited spots. But this is Tara talking to Dr. Sam Osmanagich, who is the Bosnian pyramid guy, right? He's the world's leading expert on pyramids and definitely on the Bosnian pyramid. And we're going to be joining him and his team on our tour of Tartaria, including a couple of pyramids and, of course, the Bosnian pyramid. So if you want more information on what we're doing, check out this video. Hope you enjoy it. And remember, the link is below if you're interested in our tour of Tartaria. So enjoy.
The pyramid amplifies the concentration of negative ions. And what we measure in the tunnels below the pyramid valley is the highest concentration of negative ions in the world. The next one, there is a second water flow below the pyramid. Between the two, there is a charge. When there is a charge, there is a voltage. When there is a voltage, there is electricity. The pyramid pulls up this electricity going through the network of passageways within the pyramid and going to the very top of the pyramid, forming an energy beam, which is electrical in nature, frequency of 28 kilohertz, continuous, because we measure it during all four seasons, summer and fall and winter and spring. And the next thing, during our archaeological excavation, we've discovered a lot of quartz crystal. Quartz crystal has the ability, number one, to amplify the energy. Number two, to store the information. Number three, to transform the energy from one form, electromagnetism, to another, ultrasound, through the process known to engineers as the piezoelectrical effect. So our conclusion about the Bosnian pyramids, it's a huge energy complex.
So hello, Dr. Osmanagich, or as English-speaking people know you, Dr. Sam. It's a great honor for me to talk with you. So my name is Tara. I live in Australia, but I'm Balkan girl, so I was born in Slovenia. My parents are Bosnian, so I realize as far as I travel, always something returning me to my home. And I think that's one of the reasons that today I'm here and speaking with you. So welcome. How are you?
Thank you very much, Tara. I'm very glad to be with you today. I'm doing excellent.
That's great. Tell me, we see you, once you are in Belgrade, afternoon you are in London, then next day you are in Prague, and then you are in a Yellowstone National Park in America. And we saw, actually, we are witnessing a story of the pyramids developing so much. What's your secret? Where inspiration coming from?
Every one of us has the mission in the life. And as I travel, I realized that these were the places I simply had to visit, or maybe to revisit, even if it is not in this life. So if we believe that we do have a soul besides the physical body, a soul that's been almost forever, that's been going through body to body on its journey to spiritual progress, then we can make sure that we really spend some lifetimes on different places. And like in your case, even though you live in Australia now, there is something in your roots that is calling you to the Balkan areas for a reason. I think you do have some unresolved business here. You need to come and you need to do some stuff to fulfill your mission in this life. The same thing goes for myself. I remember 20 years back, I was traveling a lot in the Mayan world, in Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, and Belize. And I was going to many, many Mayan ruins, some of them being open to the public, some of them excavating, some of them close to the public, covered by vegetation in the forest. But I simply had the feeling that I visited those places before. Maybe I even lived in those places while they were active, 1,000, 2,000, or even more thousands of years back. Matter of fact, I remember once in Honduras, in a beautiful Mayan city of Copan, I was sitting on the big stadium. That stadium was for like 20,000 people, even though official sources are saying that Copan probably had about 5,000 inhabitants. But this is one of the misinformation they've been using against the Mayan civilization. So I'm sitting there and I'm asking myself, what am I doing here? And then suddenly I heard a voice in my head saying, well, this is not your first time being here. And then I started conversation with myself, probably with my soul, asking, okay, well, when I was here, where I was sitting. And at that time, at that very moment, I was sitting on the royal place, that was the part of the stadium as the royals used to be, hoping that the answer would be, well, you were sitting right here. But the answer was different. No. You were on the other side, on the western portion of the stadium. And then I kind of saw the pictures of people who are probably priests, and I was spending time with them. And then my next question, okay, what was my mission at that time? And the answer was, you are doing exactly what you are doing right now. You are writing the chronology about the Mayan cities and towns. So it seems that there is a reason why we go back to certain places. And in my case, I'm really blessed that I'm able to travel on all 6 continents, seeing very interesting places, like you mentioned, from the US or Central America, throughout the European continent, Africa, Asia, Australia, South America. So the topics of the ancient civilizations, and especially pyramids, is something that's been very attractive topic for me for decades now.
Yeah, and it results in good work.
Yes.
Yes. So I visited Bosnian pyramids 16 years ago, maybe, almost very beginning of the story. I immediately felt there was something about place. We went there with a group of Slovenian friends, and we all agree, yes, this place is magical. So before we moved to Australia, I visited once again. And as I said before, I just keep being attracted to pyramids. There is another pyramid in Serbia, which is called Ertan. And it happened so that we bought a piece of land there, and we want to build our future home there. And I feel deeply connected with that land. But what's really of my interest and is story when we decided we will buy land, how everything it was just a beginning of Corona time, so it was not possible to travel. But it seems like some kind of magic step in, and just everything went really smooth. We find beautiful piece of land and finances and everything. And Aboriginal people talk about dream time. I'm not sure if what I'm doing is the same, but like in the evening when I go to sleep, or in the morning when I wake up, very often I think I have that image in my mind of Pyramid Ertan, of Pyramid Sunza, of Uluru, which is nearby. And I feel so much love. And it seems to me that there is some kind of internet going on or something like that. When I'm in a state like that, I get so much information. Like once I was really not in a good health. And I imagine here in Australia, where is Ertan in Serbia? It's on the other side of the world. So I imagine I close my eyes, I touch the mountain or pyramid, and I ask, what's wrong with me? And Ertan told me to just lay down on the ground, and then he told me what it is. Next day, I went to doctor, I done tests, and it was exactly what I was told it is. And I have stories like that. I could talk and talk or maybe write a book. So something is going on that is beyond of understanding of regular human mind. And it's beautiful and it's very useful. It's very practical. So what's that magic? And how it works?
Yeah, well, you mentioned several topics. You did mention your visit to the Bosnian pyramids. You mentioned the Eastern Serbian pyramidal mountain of Ertan. You mentioned Uluru. You mentioned your dream states. So let me talk about all of them. You are right. You visited the pyramid at the early stage. Back in 2005, in April, I first came to the Bosnian town of Visoko to visit the local museum. But what caught my attention was this, everybody called it natural hill because it was covered by vegetation and forests. However, I was looking at it regular geometry, 4 sides, 4 triangular faces, 4 corners, the same slope from bottom to the top. I took compass and it showed me that those sides had perfect orientation to the cardinal points, east, west, north, and south. And that's how the pyramids were built all over the planet. We've been programmed to think that pyramids are built in Egypt and Mexico, and that's wrong because they are built on all 6 continents. We've been programmed to think that Egyptian pyramids were built as tombs for the pharaohs. However, out of 155 Egyptian pyramids, not 118 as non-scientific Wikipedia or Encyclopedia Britannica claims, 155, I have visited and researched all of them. There are no mummies in single pyramid, meaning that we need to change our understanding of the pyramid purpose. Well, anyway, so when I saw that, I said, well, it has to be an artificial structure which has been covered by vegetation after thousands and thousands of years. We started excavation back in 2005. It was one-man project. Next year, I established non-profit non-government organization under the name Archaeological Park Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun Foundation. We started digging, and 1 meter below the soil, we started discovering regular, rectangular, and square blocks. We've analyzed them. It was artificially made concrete. So basically, we confirmed our hypothesis that it was artificial structure. In the meantime, we discovered a total of 6 pyramids, huge network of underground tunnels, so huge construction from the distant past. That was the work first 5-6 years. And then later on, we started looking for the potential purpose of pyramids. Archaeologists, geologists, Egyptologists, historians could not help us because nobody teaches them about the true purpose of pyramids. We needed people with the scientific instruments, physicists, electrical engineers, sound engineers, telecommunication engineers, medical doctors who measure. So they've been measuring from 2010 up to present, and we have concluded that pyramids actually amplify natural sources of energy. Below the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, we have iron plate. Iron generates electromagnetic field. The pyramids amplifies this field. How do you know? Because we measured at the base and at the top. At the top, the signal is 50 times stronger. Then, below the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, there is an underground water flow. Water moves, releases negative ions, which are very beneficial to our body. The pyramid amplifies the concentration of negative ions. And what we measure in the tunnels below the pyramid valley is the highest concentration of negative ions in the world. The next one, there is a second water flow below the pyramid. Between the two, there is a charge. When there is a charge, there is a voltage. When there is a voltage, there is electricity. The pyramid pulls up this electricity going through the network of passageways within the pyramid and going to the very top of the pyramid, forming an energy beam which is electrical in nature, frequency of 28 kilohertz, continuous because we measure it during all 4 seasons, summer and fall and winter and spring. And the next thing, during our archaeological excavation, we've discovered a lot of quartz crystal. Quartz crystal has the ability, number one, to amplify the energy. Number two, to store the information. Number three, to transform the energy from one form, electromagnetism, to another, ultrasound, through the process known to engineers as the piezoelectrical effect. So our conclusion about the Bosnian pyramids, it's a huge energy complex. The second topic you mentioned was the Rtanj. Rtanj is located in eastern Serbia, very close to the border of Serbia and Bulgaria. Actually, when you're on the top of the mountain Rtanj, you can see big parts of Bulgaria, northern, eastern, and southern Serbia. Now, Rtanj, when you look at it from afar, you can see that this is three-sided pyramid. However, this is a limestone mountain. In the case of Bosnian pyramids, we can see artificially made concrete blocks. Here, it's all limestone. It's a natural material. So this is, let's call it a natural pyramidal mountain. The very top is called Šiljak, the pointy part. Now, one would say, well, this is just the mountain. Well, let's not go so fast. First of all, the pyramidal shape. Secondly, the place has a special energy because you can see a lot of endemic plants. So they grow only when they are exposed to special energies. Number three, from the very top, there is a tunnel going at 90 degrees right down. And then 90 degrees, it makes right. And then again, 90 degrees going down. Somebody has made the tunnel inside very hard limestone rock. Who did it? Hard to say. The next one, there are a lot of water sources around the mountains, and this water has an excellent quality. And probably the main thing is, of course, that we've done measurements on the very top, and we concluded that there is also an energy beam on the very top, which is the same frequency like the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, 28 kilohertz. And it seems that only pyramidal hills, mountains, or pyramids, the artificial structures, create such an energy beam. Because when you go and measure on regular natural hills, this energy beam is absent there, so it's not there. So you have to have special conditions. Now, I realized that this pyramidal mountain was not made by humans. They did not shape it, because if you go thousands of years back in the past, obviously they did not have abilities or skills or engineering knowledge or tools to do that. However, this is not the only case around the world that I've seen such peculiar shape, such pyramidal shape of some mountains or mountain hills. And it seems to me that some very powerful, intelligent powers in the distant past were able and actually were shaping the mountains because they knew they are going to get a source of the energy that they could apply, in their activities. So now we need to allow that in the distant past on our planet, there are some other forms of intelligence, maybe not even visible to us, that are able to shape and actually to play with the energy. The third topic you mentioned was Uluru. Uluru, of course, is of extreme importance, not only for Australia, for the Aborigines, but for the whole world. It shows us how the local people treat a very important sacred place. For some people, Uluru is the largest monolith on the planet. And indeed, you can see this stone, coming out of almost a desert around it. We are talking about tens and tens of millions of tons of material. And its shape, of course, it's not a regular shape, but as you go, you can see a lot of sacred spaces for the Aborigines. They're talking about the male and the female energy. They're talking about some places where males, where, men could not go. It was forbidden for them. They're talking about some places where they could teach their kids about the astronomical properties. So, of course, the water is also a major thing for them, showing, how they were treating the water, even in cooperation with the animal kingdom. During the rains, the lakes would be generated there, and the animals would come. And of course, it's always fight between two worlds for the food. So when Aborigines were killing the animal, they would not kill the first animal or most of them, because the others would go to their herd and they would communicate not to go there anymore. What they were doing, they were waiting for the last animals, and then they would kill the last animals so the others did not know. So these are little secrets of Aborigines. But Aborigines are much more important because of something else. Of course, their physical presence is important. When the British came, they thought that they were very primitive local people. But the way they named them, Aborigines, abnormal, not normal, Aborigines, not, not original people, is of course wrong.
Yeah.
Of course, they are original people because they've been there not for over 1,000 generations, as the Aborigines said. 1,000 generations, it's about 30,000 years. They've been there, according to anthropological genetics, for about 55,000 years. And that raises the question, how come they came from Africa, as they're telling us, 55,000 years back, to Australia and so on? The reason they are important for me is that they claim they are basically of cosmic seeds. They are cosmic people. And they were visited tens of thousands of years back, and they were told they do originate from other star systems, and that they are capable of visiting the place of their origin. So basically, they taught them how to control the movement of their souls. And really, after that, since they discovered this ability to travel, through space and time, and in their particular case, in their search for their real homeland, they realized it was so much more exciting and so much more fun than living in this physical body, which is made for, one use only. So when the British saw Aborigines, in most cases naked, they thought, oh, they were primitive, they didn't know how to live, they didn't have a comfort and standard. Well, I wouldn't go so quick. I mean, you need to kind of try to make a comprehensive decision about somebody, and you need to weigh different aspects of their lives. So the Aborigines, according to some, even though they keep that as a secret, they were able to find their home, their star home, long time ago, using their soul travel.
Yeah.
So when you say dream state, dream state for me, when it comes to Aborigines, is something that had something to do with control of your soul journey. So in that context, we are coming the fourth topic and your connection with the Balkan, with the Rethane, with the Bosnian pyramids of the sun, with Australia also. And then we realize that what we consider a big distance now, Europe and Australia, is actually just a matter of our mind. If we live in those pictures, if we combine them in our heads, so they are so close to each other, so it's just a construct. So it seems to me that, yes, you have some work to do connecting those sites, and that would be part of your mission.
Yeah. And to make good story even better, it's something I desire. It's my dream really for like a really long time. So, you know, to make a long story short, to show the beauty of the Balkans and those magical places and mysteries of Balkans, which I know you know what I'm talking about, and beauty of culture, landscapes, you know, art, to show it to the world more. So that's the reason I'm doing this.
Well, the Balkan region is, of course, very important to the world. During the last civilizational cycle, which started 11,700 years ago, after the end of the last ice age, the first traces of human communities were actually discovered in the Balkan region. And this community, this culture, is called Lepenski Vir, and it developed on River Danube. River Danube is the second largest European river. And here on River Danube, just again the border of Romania and Serbia, 7 villages have been discovered when this dam was built back in 1970s. And we can see traces of community, that they have their architecture, they have their spiritual lives, they have their gods, they live in harmony with the nature. And then 2,000 years later, we have the first civilization on European soil. It is called Vinča civilization. Of course, many call it Vinča culture because they don't want to assign the name of civilization to something that was 9,000 years back. However, they had all the features of the civilization. They have a huge area which encompassed today's 5 countries. You know, we have Romania, we have Hungary, we have Bulgaria, Serbia, Macedonia. Half of the population in Europe lived within the Vinča civilization. They have the first towns. The town, Vinča town, is the place where today's Belgrade is. So 2 major rivers, they have their mouth there, River Sava and River Danube. 2,800 people live there. You know, when you have population of the whole Europe, 9,000 years back, at 100,000, and there is one place with 2,800 people, it is like a city of 40, 50 million today. And that was urban place because more than 50% of people were not in agriculture. So they were in manufacturing, they were in services, they were in trades, they were in transportation, financial services. They were building beautiful crafts, and they were working in metallurgy. The first metallurgy in Europe and probably in the whole world was developed at the Vinča culture. But unfortunately, you know, some other forces, some other, you know, places like Vienna or Berlin or London or Vatican, they write the history of Balkan, trying to undermine, you know, our achievements, saying, no, it's not civilization, it was a culture, but the real civilizations were ancient Rome and ancient Greek, which is totally wrong. And in the schools, what we do, we know all ancient Roman and ancient Greek gods, and we don't know our gods. They call them pagan gods that were in the area present thousands and thousands of years before that. So when, you know, I'm a cosmopolitan, but when I see injustice, and injustice has been done to the Balkan region, then I react. And so, historical point of view, it's extremely important for Europe like I said, the first communities were developed there, the first civilizations. And really, after the last biblical flood, 12,000 years back, the first civilizations in Europe, here in the Balkan region, Jericho, in the Middle East, Jericho in today's Palestine territory, beautiful megalithic conical towers, and the Indians, the American soil. Of course, Aborigines were there in Australia already. So now we can see that we need to review what they've been teaching us in schools about the ancient history. But then you are right. This is a beautiful land when you come today, like it's summer now, it's August, everything is green. So much greenery, forest, especially here in Central Balkan, where I reside right now, Bosnia, beautiful river and lakes and things of that nature. And, you know, sometimes being undeveloped, Bosnia is at the bottom of the European countries when it comes to the development and gross domestic products and stuff like that. But it has its own advantages. You know, we don't have 5G towers, you know, we have still 3G. So being undeveloped, sometimes it's good for your health. It's good for your eyes.
Yeah.
So a lot of things to see. Of course, we did mention the pyramids and their energy aspect, but also spiritual aspect and healing aspect. But we have some other phenomena which are worth to see and to do this big journey from Australia to Balkan region.
Yeah. Which we are doing in May 2024. And interesting thing, our first stop, before we'll do little Balkan circle, but our first stop is in a property which sits on a cliff just above Donau River. So the river that you mentioned before. So right on the edge, kind of in between two biggest rivers in Europe, like Donau and, help me, Russian, is it Volga?
Yes, Volga.
Yeah, so in between, like, kind of really powerful area, I think. So I'm very excited to do that. So one thing I would like to ask, I often look into the pictures of a pyramid of the sun, and I'm listening to you and the people that you work with, like Engineer Marjanovic, which we will talk, we will also talk to him. Amazing knowledge. And what captured my intention is the shape of the beam that it's coming out of pyramid. It's shaped like DNA, for instance. For me, this is how I see it. Or in yoga, when they talk about spinal channels, they go crisscross in a kind of wave movement. I can see similarities. And I am thinking, are there same physical principles maybe in work, in our body? Same in nature, in pyramid? What are your thoughts?
Well, you're absolutely right. And first, you mentioned coming to Balkan in May of 2024. I hope that you will have a nice size group, and I know that people will really enjoy. You know, lately, like this year, once and after the COVID, you know, the borders open. Now we are having our friends from different countries again. Right now we have a group from Holland, and they're staying for a week. And now unanimously they are saying, why don't we buy an apartment here so we can come every summer here? We had an American group, 35 of them back in June. They were saying the same thing. And as a matter of fact, 2 of them started already looking and, you know, different properties, talking to the agents. I mean, they went to Bosnia, didn't know, you know, what you know, to find there, what can they expect? But of course, it always goes much above their expectations. And they realize, hey, there are places in the world that are so nice and so calm, and the beautiful nature and the beautiful sights. And like here, the Bosnian pyramid sites, we instill this feeling of the anti-stress and non-discrimination. And all the people here are with a big smile. And, you know, it's such a big difference when you compare it to the city energy, you know, the concrete, the bad electromagnetism. People are stressed out, people are nervous. All of a sudden, everything is different here. And they even start doing things that were unthinkable for them before. They remove their shoes or they walk barefoot in our park. And so, you know, really nice transformation. And people feel free. So when you come over here with your group, I know that they are going to enjoy, and it doesn't matter what they expect, it will be much more than they expected. That's one thing. The other thing, you mentioned the energy beam again, and with the right. With this discovery, we really have changed the narrative about the pyramids. When we think about the Great Pyramid of Egypt, why would somebody spend 6 million tons of blocks and build such a monumental structure with so much mathematical, energetical, geometrical, and astronomical knowledge incorporated just because of one dead body? It doesn't make sense at all. But once you realize that, like the Giza Plateau, those three major pyramids, Khufu, Khafre, and Mykerinos, were actually part of the same complex. Not one at a time, as they are telling us, one pharaoh built it. No, it was built much, much, much before the era of the pharaohs as we know them. The same thing goes with the pyramids in China, in Mexico, in Peru, and other places, and of course, Bosnian pyramids. They are plan of one very advanced design, where they were using different type of materials. Now, of course, we now know that what we are talking about as far as energy beam in Bosnia are the scalar waves. In order to produce scalar waves, you need to use different type of materials, conductive, non-conductive, conductive, non-conductive, and this is the order where you need to place them. And those different type of materials do produce scalar wave. What is the scalar wave? Well, back in 2010, we started measuring this phenomenon on the very top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. First, we had a team from Croatia, then from Serbia, and you mentioned Engineer Marjanovic, then from Finland, Heikki Savolainen, then from Italy, Professor De Bertolis, then from Germany, Professor Konstantin Hale. And, you know, they came at 5 different times, bringing their own equipment, and they all got the same result. Well, in science, this is called an international scientific verification of the phenomena. Which phenomena? Energy beam going through the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun, which starts at the 4.5 meter diameter. It is electrical in nature. It's 28 kilohertz frequency. And then when we measure the strength of the signal, we realize that every time we lift the sonda up for, let's say, 3 meters, the signal was getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And this is not logical. If the source of the energy is inside the pyramid or even below the pyramid, as you move away from the pyramid, it would be logical that the signal is getting weaker and weaker and weaker, and eventually it disappears. But since everything is upside down in Bosnia, our energy beams are different. They are getting stronger and stronger. In science, these are called the scalar waves. The brilliant mind of Nikola Tesla, 125 years ago, was researching those subtle energies. In the last 50 years, the Russian physicists, they were working on them too. And both parties concluded that scalar waves move quicker than the speed of light. Or to be more precise, that information within the scalar fields move quicker than the speed of light. Now, the speed of light, according to hypothesis of Albert Einstein's back 100 years ago, should have the biggest speed in the universe. It is almost 300,000 kilometers per second. That's a really big speed. And Einstein hypothesized that if you try to move quicker, you are going to dematerialize. And that was one of the major problems for the astronomer and the physicist and the astronauts, how to make this movement through space and to go to other star systems. If it takes hundreds of years, hundreds of light years, or thousands of light years, there is no way that you can go to the other star systems. However, the scalar waves move much, much quicker, according to some, up to 100 million times quicker than the speed of light. What would that mean? It would mean that you can move from one space in the galaxy Milky Way to another one in a matter of seconds. And how the scalar waves look like? So they start at the 4.5 meter, and then we sent a drone. And the drone, we were moving it like 1 meter above, and then it goes 50 meters to the left, 50 meters to the right, back and forth, and then again 1 meter up, 50 meters left, right, and so on. So now we know that those scalar fields, they look like this. They go at 4.5 meter, they expand to 20 meters, 4.5, 20, 4.5, 20, 4.5. So from the outside, they look like two sinusoids. But from the inside, most probably, they look like what you said, two strands of DNA. And that would be rather logical, you know, because we do meet that in the case of our back spine, we meet it in our DNA, we meet it almost everywhere. And when we think, why would somebody make the pyramid that would create the scalar waves? If they move quicker than the speed of light, it makes them the logical choice for the communication. You know, Nikola Tesla, back in 1899 and 1900, he built famous Wardenclyffe Tower. And he did a few experiments. And then he was writing in his diary, I found a way to move unlimited quantities of energy, thousands of horsepowers, between two planets, regardless of their distance. And the frequency he was using was 28 kilohertz, the same frequency that we measure at the top of the Bosnian Pyramid of the Sun. Nikola Tesla, probably through the unsuccessful and successful experiments, discovered the best frequency to transport the energy, to move the information. And the Bosnian pyramid builders knew that 30,000 years back. And finally, where does this beam go? If we accept the theory that we live on the spherical planet that evolves around itself, and then around the sun, and then our solar system moves within our galaxy Milky Way. So if you agree with this theory, then it would mean that, you know, every second this energy beam would, you know, move, and it cannot really point to specific star systems. But what we measured was that this energy beam, in the morning, it was moved a little bit to the east. At the noontime, it was directed to the south. Afternoon, southwest, evening, west. Well, this is exactly our movement of our sun. In the morning, it rises at east, noontime south, evening west. Does it mean that this energy beam follows the path of our sun? Most probably, yes. And if we are to hypothesize, does it mean that there is a probability that this energy beam moves through the sun as a cosmic gate, making connection with other star systems? It is possible. And then with other galaxies, it is possible. And then the pyramids are obviously transmitters. They emit the energy. But at the same time, the pyramids are antennas. They receive the energy. So now we have two-way communications. And is it possible that what I just described is the base for the cosmic internet? It is possible. So now we arrive to very sophisticated way of the communication within our universe.
I have a friend, she's a painter. She holds PhD in sculpturing and she's a beautiful artist. She studied Da Vinci. When she paints, she draw sacred geometry. All she does is in sacred geometry. That's her base and golden ratio. And then she puts 200 layers of color on her picture. Beautiful artist, very. And we were talking those things the other day, and we talked technology, and she said, human body is best technology known to us. And then I was thinking a lot about that, and I came to same conclusions that what you are saying. Transmitter, this body mind, this soul combination. Transmitter, antenna, camera. We can zoom in, we can zoom out. And we have that capacity. If you think of technologies like mechanical, but we have that capacity being beyond that. So if we hold this beautiful capacity, how we connect with it and use all of those qualities and possibilities and principles to our benefit, because we found ourselves in funny situation here on Earth. And before we move from one galaxy to another, maybe we need to learn how to move from one situation, which is not that good, into a situation that is much, much better. Especially today, I think it's really important. And if you are aware of that and you know how to do it, and I know, and somebody else know, we connect and we can create something really good, something which stands on those principles that we are talking about now. So what are your thoughts?
We are very complex beings, you know. We consist of at least 3 entities. The first one is obviously the physical body. We do have flesh, we do have bones, we do have muscles, blood. But it's just the beginning of the first entity. With this first entity, we have our emotional bodies. The second one, we have our intellectual bodies. An intellectual body consists not only of one brain, it consists of 3 brains. Because for the brain work, you need neurons, and the biggest concentration is here. But the second largest concentration is here, in our heart. So our second brain is our heart. You know, sometimes people say, oh, think with your heart when you make some decisions. And the third largest area of neurons are our stomach, because so many things going on, the food, the toxins, the different internal organs. So our intellectual body is actually very, very complex. The next one is our energetical body. Our energetical body with our physical body, we have, of course, auric field. But auric field is just the first energy field around us. We have 7 of them. And then, of course, we have our chakra system, 7 chakras, you know, within our physical body, total of probably 13, very deep below and above us. So what comes with the physical body is very, very complex. So even though we are here for one use only, we should treasure our physical body and really treat it as a temple. Our second entity is our soul. It even has a physical location. It's right here, our soul. And our physical body is really protection for our soul, which is almost forever. It goes from one life experience to another and another and another on its quest for the spiritual growth. So if we go inside deep enough during the meditation, then we can start extracting information from our previous lives or from our future lives, because everything is really now. So if we can do that, then we would realize how complex is the knowledge, the vast knowledge that our soul has. Once it finishes the mission on this planet, which can involve thousands of the lifetimes, then it would progress to another one, and another one, and another one. And it's always with a higher frequency, because our planet, it has limited, the frequency, and once we come to the limit, then when we are ready, we move on. That's the second entity. And the third entity is something that I would call spirit. Spirit. What is the spirit? This is divine flesh, peace, in our body. You know how the holy books are saying that God is everywhere around us and inside?
Yeah.
That I would call spirit. It's very important terminology. So, physical body, soul, and spirit. Physical body, protection for soul, soul, protection for spirit. People who devote their lives for the meditations, like some Indian gurus who go to the caves and they spend decades of their life meditating, going deep and deep and deep, they can finally touch the divine part in themselves. They can touch the spirit. They can touch what is really divine. And so once you have those understanding of those three entities, then of course you realize, first of all, yes, physical body is for one use only. And what they try, elites from us, is to cut the connection from the other two parts. Because if we are limited only to physical dimensions, 5 physical senses, they can start ruling us through the fear. And fear is widespread. Fear at the university, academia, corporate life, media, education, everywhere is a fear. So once you fear, then you start listening. Then you start listening elites and so on. But once you realize you have a soul, and soul is almost forever, why would you fears who come from that first one? Fear of losing your house, losing your home, losing your loan, losing your saving account, losing your this. They disappear, and you start living the life without the fear. And once you are aware of your soul that can go beyond all these dimensions that we know about, then you realize that you have no limits. The life without the limits, that's the exact description of freedom. And then we become free. So once you are free, imagine the society around us consisting of free people. Then it becomes irrelevant who's the prime minister or president or ministers. You become free, and the politics will go where it belongs. It becomes service to us
people. Yeah.
So, physical, soul, spirit. And once you put things like that in this order, then there is nothing to be afraid of. And then plus you can fulfill your missions much easier. Instead of the way majority people live their lives, of course, they eat, they drink, they go to work 8 to 5, they pay the bills, and then they turn in their 70s or 80s, the life is gone. What was the purpose? So, like I said, we need to discover what is the mission and then follow that mission.
Can pyramids help us with that?
Of course, the pyramid brings energy. More energy affect our body. It develop our spiritual senses. We have 30 spiritual senses. It helps us in the healing aspect, communication aspect. The pyramids improve the molecular structure of the water. So instead of energetically dead water that we drink, in our homes, or bottled water, you start drinking structured water, water that vibrates high, energetically alive. Instead of food, GMO, that we buy in our stores, the seeds that have been exposed to the pyramid energy They start growing much quicker, richer, healthier. Then we realize that actually the pyramid energy affects all areas of our life. Water, food, spirituality. Nowadays the major question is not the vaccine, but it is the level of immunity. The pyramid energy helps us to raise the level of immunity. So it affects all major aspects of our life.
Yeah. And then might be the reason that they are calling not just me, but many, and more people, I think. When I talk to people about our trip, almost everyone of my friends, and same with Campbell, everybody say, I'm coming.
Good.
Something about it.
They will be all welcome. And the first time they can come as visitors, as a tourists, but have in mind that we also have volunteering program here at the Bosnian Pyramids. This is the only large-scale archaeological site that offer to the non-professional to come and volunteers. So we have people from all walks of life. They come, they spend 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, 3 months volunteering at our project. Some of them discovering concrete blocks on the Sun Pyramid, prehistorical tunnels, artifacts, organic material. They are part of the story. Plus, we have a beautiful park which offer people relaxation. It's a place of spiritual peace. And so they become part of this story.
There is one best kept, what I call best kept Bosnian secret, which is called merak. And for me, it's very hard to explain to people in Australia what that is. And what comes with Bosnia and Balkans, it seems to me that people are connected to that enjoyment of life, enjoyment in a simple things, sitting with your family, with your neighbors, with your friends, having coffee, having a bit of fun, a bit of humor, a bit of sometimes wise conversations. I think that memory of that deep connection and being relaxed and enjoying your friends and, I don't know, food, whatever it is, it's still very present, which is in Western world, especially in the cities, that's lost. And I think that's very precious and that's very important. And it's there. Even in Sarajevo, which is capital of Bosnia, it's there. You can sense it, you can feel it. It's within people. And would you agree?
I agree. The small things really make a fabric of our life, make our life more enjoyable. The things that happen in the physical reality, but they go beyond the physical. They go to spiritual aspect and spiritual pleasure. So physical pleasure go to spiritual pleasure. And it does have to do with the happiness, living fulfilled lives.
We're back to the mission again.
Yes.
When you find your mission. Yeah. One more topic I would like to ask you. Me and my partner, we are traveling Australia for 3 years now. When COVID started situation, we lived in Perth, suburb life, full-time jobs, and we just decided, no, this is not working for us. We bought caravan and we travel around, and we thought first it's going to be just for 3 months. Here we are 3 years later. And where we are at the moment is northwest part of Australia, beautiful land called Kimberley. It's land of great importance for original people, for indigenous people here. And when you drive, the area goes like 1,200 kilometers. And when you drive, there are pyramid after pyramid after pyramid. I don't know if they are man-made or if they are, I don't know, maybe you would know if you would come. And they are like, many times they are in 3 or 4. They are formed like that. And whole area is just beautiful and magical. And everybody say there is just something about it. People come here for holidays and they stay 10 years. That's very common. That's what this area is known for. And it's very remote. We are 1,000 kilometers on one side, no big cities. On the other side, Darwin, it's 800 kilometers up north. So really remote, beautiful. And traveling Australia and also the other parts of the world, and doing some studies in the past, do you think there once upon a time, it's still there was a grid, there was a net in earth, and pyramids and today big cathedrals and important buildings were built on those points? If so, is it possible that grid is awakening now, that we are awakening, that we start to remember, yes, this is one of our homes and this is how it builds, how it's built. And do you think there is a grid at Earth?
Everything is energy. The material world that we live in is simply dense energy. And our planet is a huge energy ball. When you have energies, then you have energy flows. On our planet, two major energy flows are north-south and east-west. And that's why when you build a pyramid and you perfectly orient it east-west, north-south, what do you have? It does initiate the movement of the energy within the pyramid. But that's one of the reasons why the pyramids were oriented to the cardinal points. But your question was more about the underground energy flows. Our civilization do not have a proper scientific instruments to measure those underground energies, but we know of their existence. For example, there are so-called ley lines. Ley lines are underground energies, and they run east-west, north-south. And in some countries like England, there are people who've been investigating those ley lines, concluding that majority of the cathedrals, which you just mentioned, are located on those ley lines. However, the cathedrals were built on top of older temples, destroying them and using the material for the cathedrals. And those older temples were built on the places of all the paganic places of the worship. And they were built on the top of the first megalithic structures or ruins. Meaning that those first builders knew that those places were significant when it comes to the energies. Why is that important? If you have powerful energy spots and you build certain shapes, it can be pyramidal. Pyramidal is the best because energy then goes through the very top. If it is a conical, a tumulus-like, again, energy going through the top. However, if it is a dome, half sphere, the energy remains inside the sphere, and that's why we have a lot of domes when it comes to the big churches and the cathedrals. And those who talk within those domes, their message is getting amplified. So ley lines is the first phenomenon. The second phenomenon are the so-called Hartmann lines or Hartmann grids. They are lines, they are about 25 to 45 centimeters wide, and they also run east-west, north-south. The places where they meet, those are called Hartmann intersections. They are also powerful energy points. However, this energy is negative for people. Then there are also Caris lines. Caris or Cari grids, they run diagonal. The places where they meet, those intersections, also bad for us. There are Schneider's grids. They're also running diagonal, but in other direction. So there are many different energy lines under the ground. Of course, underground water flows, they also generate energy. But that energy, again, that's bad for us. If you have your bedroom and your bed above underground water flow, in a matter of a few years, you're going to get 6. So now we realize that our planet is much more complex than what people think. You know, if they want to build a house, they just find a suitable property, somebody is selling the property, they buy, they build the house. Wrong. We should apply the ancient knowledge. We should apply the knowledge of where exactly to build the house. What is the positive energy, so to speak? Where is the negative energy? Sometimes animals can help us. Dogs, they always go to the positive energy spots. Cats always go to the negative. So where dog lays, you can put your bed over there. Horses, always positive. So this is a knowledge, it's a common knowledge that the ancients knew that. And a matter of fact, even we, the humans, we had the ability to feel the positive or the negative energy. Nowadays, nobody teaches us that. We don't have teachers. Then the parents could teach us because that was a common knowledge. So you have it on the micro plan when it comes to the positive or negative energies, or geopathogenic energy fields, geopathogenic radiations, and they should be taken into consideration: where to move, where to sleep, where to live, stuff like that. It goes on a wider range. You have the areas with extremely positive energy, and sometimes you can influence those energy spots. If you place a menhir or megalith, it can neutralize negative energy. If you make megalithic circle, it neutralizes negative, transforming to positive energy. The ancients knew that. And the older the stone, the stronger the stone, for example, granite, volcanic stones, which is energetically more potent, its function is better. Bigger the stones, its functions also is better. So these are some knowledge that we can learn from the ancients. But most of this knowledge has been forgotten over the time. So when you go to the places that have something special, and maybe even not on the conscious level, maybe on subconscious level, maybe on the level of your energy field, those hills, they also create the energies. We have our energy field, and energies communicate.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have this feeling of very pleasant place. We don't know why. Well, that's why, because our energies are giving us the instructions.
Yeah. For me, even in my thoughts, as I said before, when I go to sleep, I close my eyes and I think of places that I love. And it brings me that pleasant feeling of calm and safeness and home. And it works even on distances. It must be, I mean, I know it is amplified when you are actually there with your physical and all other bodies.
Yes.
So it's going to be, I think it's exciting to planning that trip, which will happen really soon. Thank you very much. I know you are busy. You are on your mission. So thank you very much. I hope we will talk again. I learned new stuff today, and some are just confirmed. And I hope same will happen for people who are gonna listen this. And I hope when we visit you in a Visoko, we will meet and you know, we can shake our hands and hug, and you know, in a real human manner, human to human. So yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for the interest. Looking forward, you know, for your coming and your group in May of 2024. You will send me a date, so I make sure that I'm here when you arrive.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.